This video is going to focus on how to add and subtract with complex numbers. Now what you see in front of you right here is the basic format for a complex number. The A is your regular number. It's just something like 5 or 7. The BI term, B is also a regular number, but it has that I term next to it, meaning that this is the imaginary component of our complex number. Every time we are dealing with a general complex number, we have a real term and we have a non-real term. And adding and subtracting them is actually pretty simple. Let's see how it's done. So for this example, we are going to be adding 4 plus 3i, this complex number, to 3 plus 4i, another complex number. And as you can probably see, based on how I've written this, I've got some color coding going on. That's because when we are adding complex numbers, first we add our real numbers. Then we add our imaginary or non-real numbers. And we get our answer that way. So we would get 4 plus 2 to equal 6. And then we would have 3i plus 4i to equal 7i. So our final answer is 6 plus 7i, and it'll look like this. And that is the final answer for this example. Hopefully you find that pretty simple. Just remember, add the real numbers, then add the non-real numbers. Let's try another one. This time I did not color code everything. Don't forget that basically these are quantities together. And just like before, we're going to add the real numbers. So we're going to add 5 and 4 first. Then we're going to add our imaginary numbers. So we're going to add 3i. And over here is technically a negative 6i. So we'll have to do a little bit of subtraction with this one. But let's set it up. I've got 5 plus 4, which is our real numbers. So that is 9. It's a terrible looking 9, sorry. And we've got 3i, terrible looking 3, minus 6i. So what is this going to turn out to be? This becomes negative 3i. And our final answer is 9 minus 3i. Okay, so adding imaginary numbers, complex numbers, not too bad. Just combine your like terms basically, and you're going to be good to go. Subtracting them is the same way. You want to make sure that you subtract your whole numbers, your real numbers first, and then subtract your imaginary numbers next. So let's do one of those examples. This time we have the quantity 7 plus 2i, and from that we are subtracting 8 plus I. Take your real numbers, and you're going to subtract them. So we got 7 minus 8, which is going to be negative 1. Take your imaginary terms. So we got 2i minus 1i. And that answer is just going to be I. 2 minus 1 is 1. So our final answer ends up being negative 1 plus I. Alright, but what if we are dealing with stuff that doesn't look like our general format for a complex number? How do we handle those? Okay, this will be our last example, so let's see how to handle these. Here we have the quantity 5 plus 4i, and we're taking away from it 6i. What you should notice right away is what we're subtracting only has an imaginary component. It does not have a real component. So nothing's going to happen to our 5. The 5 is just going to stay as it is, and we are going to deal with 4i minus 6i, which is going to give us negative 2i. So since we're only subtracting the imaginary components, the real components do not change, and our final answer is 5 minus 2i. There you have it. That is the basics of adding and subtracting complex numbers. Check back later to see how we can multiply and then even divide complex numbers.